In this video, we're going to talk about the basics of PAILs and rails. PAILs and rails stands for progressive and regressive angular isometric loading. That's a mouthful. You don't need to remember it. What you do need to know is this is the most effective way to increase range of motion in a muscle and protect your body in compromised positions, okay? So if you want your hamstrings to be more flexible, if you want your hips to be more flexible, if you want your shoulders to be more flexible, PAILs and rails are gonna be more bang for your buck than anything else you can do. It's a real simple tool set too. All it is you're gonna stretch passively for 2 minutes. Why 2 minutes? Because 2 minutes, all the literature says that you have to at least stretch for 2 minutes to gain lasting range of motion, meaning if I stretch for 30 seconds, I'm not doing a thing. I've got to stretch for 2 minutes to make sure that that stretch is going to make me more flexible long term. So we're going to stretch for 2 minutes. We're going to get you in the longest position you can get to in a muscle. Then what we're going to do is we're going to teach the muscle, teach the tissue to fire in that new range of motion we just got. So let's say we do that 2 minute stretch, you gain 4 to 6 inches of range of motion. Well, now we're going to teach the muscle to fire there. That does a couple of things for us. Number one, it allows your body to actually gain even more range of motion. You're going to immediately feel another 4 to 6 inches of extra range of motion that you gain if you're doing something like a hamstring. But the real bang for your buck here is now your muscle is used to firing in a compromised position, something that's never had to use before. And if you use your muscle in this new position, well, now it can protect itself in this new position. It can be strong in this new position. So if we're running on the football field and we're extending our hamstring maybe a little bit further than we ever have before because you know what, we want that touchdown real bad, well, now my muscle's used to firing there, I'm less likely to pull a hamstring. That goes for every single joint in your body. So let's go over what this looks like really, really quick. I'm gonna go over a hamstring, PAIL and rail. I'm not gonna do it for the full 2 minutes, but I just want you to understand what this looks like and what the tempo is for the different pieces of a PAIL and a rail. We're going to do both PAILs and rails within the same exercise too, just so you know. So first we're going to set up and we're going to stretch the hamstring out to its lengthened position. So what I want to do is I want to have a little bit of a bend in my knee right here. Why are we doing that? If I'm totally locked out, I'm going to stretch all this tendon behind the knee. I'm not going to get up into the belly of the hamstring. Well, the belly of the hamstring is where I want to be. So I'm going to get a little bit of a bend right here. Then I'm going to keep my chest big, nice flat back. I'm going to start hinging forward and feeling this hamstring stretch. While I'm doing that, I'm taking these hips and I'm tilting the hips back at the same time until I get to a position where I feel that hamstring stretching as far as it can go. And it's really important, I want to feel the stretch in the muscle that I'm trying to stretch. That may sound simple, but if you're not feeling the stretch in the hamstring, you're not stretching the hamstring, okay? So right now, I'm really feeling the stretch up at the top of the hamstring into the glute. That's what I want to work on with this drill. Now I'm going to get my chest big. I'm going to set my timer on my watch. And I'm going to hold this for 2 minutes. And as that 2 minutes goes by, I'm going to slowly stretch a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And I'll gain some range of motion just by the passive stretch for 2 minutes. This should not be incredibly intense. It should be uncomfortable, okay? It's not going to be super comfortable, but I'm not having to build up a sweat yet. Now, once I've hit that 2 minute mark on my watch or my time or whatever, I know that I've gained as much range of motion passively, meaning just by stretching, as I can. Now's where I start making my money. First, we're going to do a PAIL, okay? So a PAIL stands for progressive angular isometric loading. So we're going to take my foot, I'm going to be in this position. Remember, I'm as long as I can get. I can't go any more forward. I can't change anything else. This hamstring is at length. And what I'm going to do is from this position, I'm going to isometrically push, which isometric just means that I'm pushing as hard as I can, but there is no movement, into the bench. I like to coach up on this one, try to push the bench down and pull it to you. And so I'm going to use all my mental energy. I'm going to start at about 10% and start pulling against it. Then I'm going to ramp that up after about 10 to 15 seconds up to 30%. Then I'm going to ramp it up to 50%. Now at 50%, I should be feeling a pretty good pull in that hamstring. I might even start be shaking a little bit, but I want to intensify this isometric loading even more. So how do I do that? I'm going to find something external like this dowel rod, or I'm going to clench a fist. I'm going to lock down every muscle in my body, and I'm going to ramp this thing up to 70%. If you can talk at 70%, you're not pushing hard enough. I'm pushing very, very hard. My muscles should be shaking. My knees are shaking. I am fully intentional with what I'm doing. Then after about 10 to 15 seconds of 70, I'm gonna go max effort for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, you should still be in the position that we stretched maximally to earlier. So I should be in the maximum stretch I could have done. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to gain that last 2 to 3 inches. How I'm going to do that? I'm not going to move the leg, but I'm going to use my quad and pull my chest into the stretch anymore. So you can see already I'm not even really doing one. I've gained about 4 or 5 inches of range of motion here. I'm going to do the same intensity level and pull in the opposite direction now. So now I'm trying to pull into the stretch more. I'm going to hold this. I'm going to go 10%, 30%, 50%, 70%, and then give myself 10 seconds of max effort pulling myself towards my toe. And what you'll find is you've automatically gained maybe 2 inches, maybe 4 inches, maybe 6 inches of extra range of motion. You're going to be sweating if you're doing it right. You're going to be shaking. You're going to need some recovery time after you do it, but you'll instantly expand that range of motion and you'll strengthen the muscle in a new position. Now, when you first start doing these, you don't need to do a whole lot of sets. Honestly, 1 per day is probably plenty. I wouldn't do it before we're doing a big workout at this intensity because you're going to be kind of smoked. But as you go, what you can do is you can start getting that position. You can do a PAIL, then a rail, rest and stretch for about 30 seconds. Then you can do another PAIL and then another rail. And you can start stacking up 2 to 3 sets of this and you'll get really, really good results really, really fast. Now, I'm not going to go over all our PAILs and rails today. We don't have enough video on this one. But what I'm going to do is our big money PAILs and rails, our hamstrings, our glutes, our internal, external rotation of the shoulders, that kind of stuff. We're going to have a separate video up for each of those. So if I or another coach tells you, hey, I need you to go do your hamstring PAILs and rails, well, you can go click on the hamstring video and find the PAILs and rails coaching for the hamstring or for internal, external rotation or for the glute or for the quad, the hip flexor, whatever it may be.